Welcome to The Longest Turn. This is episode 91, Origins Recap. My name is Tyler.
My name is Logan.
In this episode, we're going to recap our trip to Origins in Columbus, Ohio this year. Logan and I went on a father-son trip, and you may notice that Tyson and Kevin are not here recording with us, but we wanted to talk about our Origins trip and just talk about some of the games we played, some of our favorite moments. Logan, this was your first time at Origins. What were your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I had a blast. I thought it was awesome. It was a really cool event.
You know, we actually ended up staying a little bit outside of town, and so we rented a car, and that was the worst part about the trip. Not the driving part. The driving was fine. It was great to be able to go do some other stuff that wasn't just right at the convention center or right next to it. But our car smelled like an ashtray. And it was terrible. And the first couple days, I tried to get it swapped out. And every time I went to a budget car rental place, they were like, "Oh, we don't have anything to swap it out with." Yeah, sure. Okay. So we ended up driving this ashtray around for 4 days or whatever it was.
Yeah. And it was great, too. The backup camera, we joked that it was drunk because it was completely blurry.
Yeah. We
have a picture of it where the car is not moving in any way, shape, or form, and the backup camera is completely blurry.
What did you... so that was your first time going to Origins. What did you think about the crowds at Origins?
It was an interesting group all around.
You thought there was one guy that was cosplaying, right?
Oh, yeah. So
as a cyborg or something?
Yeah, so we walked past this gentleman, and I genuinely believed that he was cosplaying some cyborg, because he had this, robotic attachment on his shoulder. It turns out, as we got closer to him, it was a fan. He had a shoulder-mounted fan that was just pointed right at his face. We could tell this was not his first convention.
Yeah. I was envious, honestly, because it was warm and toasty a couple days in there.
Yeah, he thought ahead.
So the first day, we walked the convention hall probably more than we did any other day. We didn't play a ton of games, but after that, we spent a lot of time back by the library area where there's just tons of open tables, and we played tons of games. I think we had 38 total plays the whole time we were at Origins, and that was a lot of two-player games. We played a few other games with maybe one or two other games with a couple of people, but for the most part, we were just playing as two players, and it was awesome. I mean, it was a father-son trip that we were doing, and it was a blast. I loved every second of it, especially when I beat you at Unmatched. That was the highlight of the trip for me.
Yeah, let's talk about this. So the way that I could get him to agree to play Unmatched with me,
go pick out whatever you want to play in the library, Logan.
And I come back with Unmatched Cobble and Fog. Great set. And he agreed to play if he could control two characters versus my one. So he controlled Jekyll and Hyde and Invisible Man versus my Dracula. It was a close game.
Well, I mean, you showed up. You defeated my first guy, right?
Yeah.
Of course, you did have 3 minions, so you had 4, and I really just had 2 people.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were Dracula, and of course, as always, you drew all the cards that you needed at the most opportune time for you, and you put up a good fight.
Yeah, I was proud of it for a 2v1. It was a good effort.
And I was just happy that it didn't last too long, and I ultimately was victorious.
Oh, of course.
Regardless of how slanted in my favor it was.
Of course.
It still felt good.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got to go to a couple of media events. We got to see publishers. It was great to see familiar faces and see some designers that I've talked to in the past. For the most part, the best part about the con was just playing a ton of games.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And Origins is different than Gen Con. You got tons of new releases at Gen Con. Origins, there were a lot of big publishers that weren't there that have been there in the past. It felt like there were a lot of booths missing. It was still full, but it was more full of RPGs and extra game adjacent stuff, and not as many publisher booths, I thought.
And there was it was a lot of RPGs and a lot of TCGs, and then very few like big publishers.
Yeah. So we walked the hall a little bit more over the next few days, but the best thing that we did was just play a ton of games. We ate really good food too while we were there. We'll talk about that a little bit, but should we just jump into some of the games that we played that stuck out the most to us?
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the games, this was the highlight of the game or of the convention for me. Logan bought this for me for Father's Day. Moytura from David Thompson and Trevor Benjamin. And this is in, I think it's called the Mythos Collection.
Yeah,
From Bitewing Games. It's a group of 2-player games. There's 4 of them. There's like Iliad and Azure, and there's one that's escaping me right now. But 2-player games. I think Reiner Knizia did at least a couple of the first ones. It's an area control, very simple action selection game where you're also playing against monsters. And so you've got this kind of like third AI or Automa player, right? But it never feels cumbersome to take the turns of the Automa, right?
Right. It's one of the smoothest automated players of any game I've ever played.
Yeah. I take one action, Logan takes one action, and then the Automa takes an action. And then you do that 5 turns, then you score the first round, and then you take 5 more turns, and then you score that round. And that's the game. And we got to the point where we were playing this game in 25, 30 minutes. I mean, it plays really quick. There's just a few things that I love. The AI or the game, and I've now entered this into my BG Stats app, is the player Moytura. Because Moytura scores. And we've played 7 or 8 times, I think, at this point. Moytura has won 2 of those games, and one of them, the AI just absolutely destroyed both of us. So that's cool. I like that it's there, but it's not just there. It's also scoring, and it's competitive scoring. You can get your butt kicked by the game, right?
Absolutely.
As well as you can get your butt kicked by your opponent. We bought the upgraded bits and the little expansion, which came with additional monsters that you could play against. There's a bunch of different regions, and you start out in a couple regions. Your opponent starts out in a couple, and Moytura starts out in 3 different regions with potentially 3 different monster types that expand differently and take their actions differently, right? And so you're just trying to get areas that have both a first and second majority bonus for points when each round is scored. But one of the really cool things is there's these action selection tiles that are named after different gods, and they each let you expand in a different way. And not only when you expand, if you do it at a high enough level, paying devotion, I think. The white cubes are devotion. If they're at a higher level in this order from top to bottom, they let you put out more guys, but you get to upgrade them when you pay devotion to do them at higher tiers. And then so every other time you take that action with that god later on in the game, you get more of your armies to put out. And that's really cool. But then also when you take an action, it moves that god up to the top of the order, right? Mm-hmm. And so their actions are constantly changing in value, but also how much they cost to take. And that was just really cool. It makes the game just some very interesting decisions there.
Yeah, and it's cool too because you think about there might be a god that you really know that your opponent wants to play at a high level.
Yeah, but or is looking to upgrade.
Or is looking to upgrade it, and so you'll leave it at the very bottom tier and just not use it, even though it's more convenient for you, just so your opponent can't upgrade it and get that extra effect.
Yeah, because if you take the action, it moves up to the top, and then they're in that higher tier where they can upgrade it and get, it's immediate. So you get 1 or 2 extra armies to put out generally when you upgrade it. Another thing I like about it, it's area control. You're never battling your opponent, right? There's never conflict or fighting. Like, you're definitely trying to insert your guys into a region as much as possible, and you might compete for that region, but there's no conflict. There's no real battling. It's you have 10 turns to claim as much land in as many regions as you can. So does your opponent, and so does Moytura. And that's it. And it plays really quick, and it's awesome. What did you like most about it, Logan?
So personally, my favorite part is that god action selection where they vary in cost, and the higher the cost, the more the action's worth, but then it moves. Whatever action you take moves to the highest cost, and everything slides down. I think that's an awesome mechanic. But one thing I was going to say is a great part about the fact that you never fight each other, that you never actually battle the other player, is once every space in a region has guys, that region will not change control unless the monsters come in and deplete and destroy your armies, and then free up space. So there's also a lot of interesting strategy of, hey, I'm going to place guys here, and now that's the last space in this region, and now my opponent can't add any more, and I just secured the majority. Like, that's it makes you feel good to make that kind of play.
I mentioned one of the games that we lost to Moytura. A good scorer for us. We would score above 45, or the winner scored above 45, right?
Yeah.
And we probably capped out at 50, I think. Moytura in one game scored 30 points in that first round, and then another like 20 or 23 or something in the second round, and man, we got just destroyed. And part of that was I think we were playing with a new combination of 3 monsters, and it's cool because especially if you get the expansion, you've got a bunch of different monsters that you can mix in. They all play differently. You can play with the generic ones that all kind of act the same, if you're introducing the game to someone, but once you get into it, you start wanting to play with these different guys, and some of them just spawn at all the ritual sites. Is that what they are?
I think so. Yeah, ritual sites. That sounds right.
Some of them expand only along the coast. Some of them put down camps. I mean, there's just really simple mechanics there with how they expand, but very rewarding and very different depending on which monsters you're playing against.
Yeah. Another thing that's great, we've mentioned a couple times that one game where we both got destroyed by Moytura. That's not normal, and most of the games we've played, all of the scores, both players and the Moyturas, have been pretty close.
Yeah, I would say
it's been a lot of really competitive games.
Most of the time we're altogether within 6 points of each other or something. And so it's funny to see, like, am I actually going to win this? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is Logan going to win this? Is Moytura going to win? Who knows? But it's an awesome game. I really enjoy it. I think there may be more coming in this line from Bitewing Games, but definitely was the highlight for me was playing this game of this con as far as the games we played.
All right, I'm going to talk about a game that I'd looked at for a while, thought about buying in the past, and then we got a chance to demo it at the con and decided to buy it. This is Kabuto Sumo Sakura Slam. This is designed by Tony Miller, John Brager, and Michael Dunsmore. This is published by Allplay, and this is a kind of abstract strategy. There's this awesome boxing ring arena that you set up.
Awesome?
It's awesome. Okay. It's awesome. You put a bunch of discs out, and each player essentially has kind of a disc that represents their wrestler. This is Bugs Wrestling, sumo wrestling. And you put out a bunch of discs, and you have some essentially in your inventory. And on your turn, you have a little board that you set up next to the arena, and you slide in a piece, pushing things in the arena, knocking stuff off. And ultimately, the goal of the game is to knock your opponent out of the ring. A really cool thing about this game is anytime you knock pieces out, you get to then add those pieces to your inventory to push on later turns. This game for me is kind of right up my alley. I love those competitive kind of head-to-head combat games. And I also love abstract strategy. And there's a lot of interesting things. And there's a lot of kind of looking at the board and trying to figure out how the pieces will move when you push it a certain way. And there's also some really funny moments created when the discs don't move the way you think they will. Another awesome thing about this game, we bought an expansion to it that adds more guys. And we also bought some like single characters, but there are asymmetric player powers. And one of my favorite things is between the base game and the expansions that we bought, we have 20 different ones to play with. And so there's a ton of replayability there, just trying different matchups, seeing how the different bug powers interact. And it just kind of creates funny moments.
Yeah, and definitely interesting situations, right? And there's a couple of the guys that I played with that were terrible and did nothing for me, and then there were a couple that just felt OP, like this shouldn't be allowed type experiences. But that was the cool part for me, was this is not a game that I would necessarily choose to play a ton. We played it 9 times, I think, while we were at Origins. And for me, the fun part was exploring. And for you, I know you enjoyed this because we were trying to get through all the guys that we had. But just playing the different guys and seeing how the game played differently was the best part for me. And it kept it fresh every time. Because we would play this back-to-back a few times and then play something else and then come back to it and go play a few other games and then come back to it. So, but the guys, the uniqueness of their abilities was awesome.
Yeah, it was good. I think this is a game that you kind of can't take too seriously. Sometimes it can end super quick. Sometimes it has a super long, drawn out battle, and just kind of funny, laughable moments. We had a few games where you think you were about to knock out your opponent and you accidentally knocked out yourself with your piece, and it's just fun moments, and it's the kind of competitive head-to-head game that I love.
All right, so another game that we played quite a bit was Soda Jerk. This came out last year. It's a really small card game from All Play, and it's designed by Chris E. And I love the art style, right? Yeah. It's like old school soda shop type art, right?
Yeah.
And it's calming and I don't know, it makes me want to go buy a soda, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But basically you have these 5 taps in different flavors. And so there's like orange, blueberry, banana, and the starter cards don't have this, but when you flip them over, each one of them has a different condition or ability that takes place. And we'll talk about those in a second. But so in this game, on your turn, you have a handful of cards of different values ranging 1, 2, or 3 in these various flavors. And you have to decide, okay, how am I going to score points? You have 2 choices on your turn. Play a card face down or flip over an existing card face up. And how the scoring works is basically any flavor card that's in the matching tap line will score positive points, and any wrong flavor in that tap line will score negative points. So you'll flip over all the cards in blueberry, and if there's 3 blueberry cards, total value of 8, and there's 2 banana cards in there, total value of 4, then every blueberry card in everybody's hand at the end of the round is worth 4 points, 8 minus 4, right? So you're countering positive points with negative points. But the abilities make this really fun. I would never not play with the abilities going forward. Like banana cards, after the first card that's played, every card that's played in banana, on the banana tap, has to be played face up. The key lime, this one, is it
kiwi?
Lime? Kiwi.
Just kiwi.
Sorry, kiwi.
Yeah.
It's kiwi. It scores double points. So whatever the value is, scores double points. There was one hand where I scored like 70 points with kiwi, and then there was another hand where I scored negative 50 points with kiwi. So that one in a 2-player game, you remove one of the taps. We started removing that one a little bit. It was a little too swingy, I felt like. But they each have different abilities or conditions, and one of the things that is cool about the 2-player game is I don't know if it's called the actual Soda Jerk card or what, but each player has a card that they can invert the value of that tap, which created some really funny moments. So if the value should have been 7, but I had also played that Soda Jerk card, then it would have been negative 7. But Logan could have countered it and played his to make it positive again. That made the 2-player game really interesting to me, where, like, has Logan played his Soda Jerk card yet? Trying to figure out when to play that, when to hang on to it, those situations. That was awesome. And I really enjoyed this game. It's a really great 2-player game. I've since played it at game night, 3-player, and it did not give me the same experience at all. And I would almost house rule the more than 2-player game and add in these soda jerk cards. And even if it's just random and someone might end up with 1 or 2 of them, like, who cares? It mixes up the game a little bit more. So we had a blast playing this with this one. We were playing it in the airport before we caught our flight home. I don't know. It was a great 5-10 minute game that you can get out really quick, and we had a great time with it.
I think this is kind of, I've only played it 2-player and I had an absolute great time. That soda jerk card, I wanted to there's so many fun strategies that opened up with that. And it's a really simple game, rules-wise, gameplay, very, very straightforward, easy, but there's also a lot of fun decisions, and kind of interesting strategies. And I would say from our last play to our first play, the things that we were considering were vastly different.
Yeah.
Like we learned so much, and we picked up on a lot of kind of more niche strategies,
nuances of how each other play as well. Like, oh, I see what he's doing there. And, I mean, there were a couple surprises still, which made it really fun. Mm-hmm. The next game we're going to talk about, I haven't played yet, but I demoed this first, and I was like, oh man, Logan's got to see this game. And so you were at an event that you finished, and as soon as we met back up, I had you demo it too, and you instantly bought it. You want to tell us about it?
Yeah, so this is Hercules and the 12 Labors. This is designed by Tyler J. Brown and art done by David Schneider. This
is from Envyborn Games, I think.
Yes, Envyborn Games. This game is a solo-only game. It's following exactly what the title says, Hercules performing the 12 labors. And essentially, every labor has 1 to 4 cards associated with it, and you'll set out these cards and put dice essentially tracking the labor's health. And then as Hercules, you'll be rolling dice, allocating these dice to different spots, both on the labor's cards and on your own cards, to deal damage to the labors and try to defeat all 12. And anytime you defeat a labor, a really cool part of this game is you get to take the labor card that you defeated, and it's now a reward that gives you new dice allocation spots to do new things. And you beat the game when you've beaten all 12 labors, and there's also this really difficult track to go up called the Divinity track. And if you're not at the top of the Divinity track, when you defeat the 12th labor, you lose. The first thing I wanted to say I love about this game is the production is absolutely fantastic. The artwork is gorgeous. Oh, it is amazing.
It's so cool.
There's like...
the cards have like a gold, I don't know, leafing, or I don't know how to describe it, but they're beautiful.
It reflects light like this. Yeah, it's just everything is gorgeous. There's 14, 15 about custom dice, some for the labors, some for Hercules dice that just look absolutely amazing. And also something that's really cool that I appreciate as kind of like a history and mythology nerd. Every single one of the labors has 1 or 2, and I think in the case of one and of the last one, even 3 of these just lore cards. And it's just a card front to back that has a bunch of lore you can read through if you'd like. So the first time I played through, I read every card before every labor, but then every time since that I've played, I've just taken all of them out and I can just play through. But yeah, the production of this game is amazing. As somebody who plays a lot of solo games and has a lot of experience with different solo systems, this game is just great. It's probably my favorite part of it is it's super difficult. There are 3 game modes: human, hero, and god. Human being the easiest. I have barely beaten that. And then on like the standard hero game mode, I haven't even gotten past the 6th labor. Like it's super difficult. I could just play this game over and over again. The first night that we got this, we brought it back to the hotel, and I was up till like 2 in the morning
Yeah.
because I was just gonna play it until I beat it, and that took a while.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the cool thing is this is the first in a series of games like this. So they just recently, I think earlier this year, it was in May. In May, they crowdfunded Jason and the Argonauts, and they had this on display in their booth. But it's the follow-up, the second game, and that'll be fulfilling. You can still late pledge now, I think, on Backer Kit, but it looks awesome too. And then Matthew from Envy Board Games, he said he was also meeting the designer, and they were talking about the third one at some point during Origins. And so I don't know if we're supposed to say what the topic was for that, or who it's following. So we got Hercules, Jason and the Argonauts, and then I won't say, but it sounds awesome. Yeah. So if that one comes out too, that's great. I'm definitely going to follow up with Jason and the Argonauts as well. And I'm looking forward to playing this because the demo was amazing. And then, seeing you play it and just listening to you as you talked about stuff as it's happening, I can't wait to play this. So yeah, it was definite winner. I look forward to see what they do next, right? Those were kind of the games that we really wanted to talk about. We definitely had played some other games that were a lot of fun. What were some of our favorite moments? What was your favorite moment, Logan?
Okay. So Restoration Games.
Oh my gosh! Here we go. More Unmatched.
The amazing publisher of one of the greatest games of all time, Unmatched. They were at Origins, thankfully, and they hosted some events. And they hosted a couple of Unmatched tournaments, and I was really excited to try my hand at those. And the first one that I went to, I actually won. And that was super cool. And I won playing my favorite character, George Washington, which adds you don't get to pick the characters that you play. We had a draft, but a limited selection. And I ended up winning with my favorite character. So that was pretty cool. But while I was there, there's a YouTuber. He's on the Unmatched Discord as well. His tag on both YouTube and the Discord, Darkblade. This guy, he's a professional player. He plays in all the tournaments, and when he gets knocked out, he'll be a announcer, a commentator on the finals matches for the big Unmatched tournaments. Awesome guy, great content, and I watch a lot of his content. But I got to meet him. He was there with Restoration Games.
He was kind of officiating your table or the tournament that you joined, right?
Yeah, so he was it
was a free-for-all, right?
It was a free-for-all format, but he was sitting there kind of watching everything, making sure rules are being followed. But I met him, got introduced, just talked for a bit before, and then during the tournament, he was always just sitting there, just kind of chatting, and it was just a super cool experience to play the tournament and also just chat with kind of a big name in that gaming
circle.
Unmatched kind of has its own community, and it was just awesome to just talk and joke around for an hour and a half while I was playing my favorite game. It was just super cool, super fun.
You walked up to me. I was in the convention hall, and I had just demoed Hercules, and you were on cloud nine. I mean, you were happy that you won the tournament and you had fun playing it, but that you got to talk to Darkblade for an hour, basically, or an hour and a half or whatever. You were just beaming. You were so happy and so excited, and it was awesome to hear about your experience, because I didn't go in and sit in there with you while you were playing. I was walking around still and talking to people, and it was awesome to hear how excited you were about it. It was really cool.
One thing that I kind of discovered with this and a couple other experiences we had at Origins, one thing that's kind of awesome about the board game community is you'll meet these big names, these designers, these content creators, these publishers, and they're just all people who love board games. I think in other industries, you kind of talk to the big names and they're kind of arrogant or prideful, and
I'm sure there's some of that in the community, but
I'm sure there is too. But everyone we interacted with, for the most part, it's people who love games, love to talk about games, and it's a very welcoming, just super friendly community, and
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, speaking of that, one of the cool people we get to talk to, it seems like every time we go to Origins, and I've been to Origins a few times, it's been a couple of years, but David Thompson, awesome designer. We already talked about him with Moytura. We've talked about him in the past. He's been on our podcast before. We've highlighted a ton of his games in the past: Undaunted, War Chest, Witchcraft. He creates cool game, and he demoed Moytura for us, which was awesome. Another one, General Orders. We got a couple plays of that. That was awesome. It was so good to get that game back out. Logan beat me both times, and one of them I should have won, and the other one was a dice roll determined the victor.
Whoa. One of them. The dice roll determined
We're
the
talking about
victor.
David Thompson.
Oh, yeah, David Thompson. The other one, I beat him in both win conditions, just to clarify. The second game?
I almost took out your base.
Yeah, and I controlled all the stars and then took out your home base.
Yeah, whatever. Get out of my face. It was super cool to see him. He had a copy of Night Witches. I happened to see him later on in the convention, and he was demoing it and gave us a demo of Night Witches, which is a co-design he's done with Liz Davidson. It hasn't come out yet. Ian O'Toole art. Love the look of this game. Heard about this game a few years ago from him, and he was excited about it back then. But basically, you're playing as these World War II Soviet bomber squadron or regiment of female pilots who sole mission was to frustrate and to distract and be a pain in the Eastern Front against the Nazis, right? And so you play through, I think he said it was 10 missions that you could play through, one or two players. If you play it solo, you're controlling two different airplanes, right? But basically, and it's a bag builder. Or you're pulling stuff out of the bag, and you can manipulate it, and there's things to mitigate bad pulls and stuff.
There's a little bit of bag building, but it's not the main mechanic.
Right. But you're over the course of these campaigns, like you're getting upgrades, and how well you score and whether or not you're successful determines kind of your path. You still play the same 10 missions, but how well upgraded and stuff you are going forward. And so you have a certain number of lives, I think, to get through the missions, and it's just kind of how well you can do it, right? But it doesn't sound super easy. I think this is going to be a challenge. I'm definitely getting this game just because I respect the designer so much. I love the Ian O'Toole art and the concept of this, and I love... one of the cool things about David Thompson, obviously he's done with Trevor Benjamin, the Undaunted is it Callisto or sci-fi version of Undaunted, but just the historical elements and stories that he retells through his games, through, all the World War II games and stuff. It's just awesome. And he's the nicest guy ever. Love talking to him, and that was a highlight for me. It was just checking out Night Witches, having him demo Moytura, and just seeing him again and talking to him. I don't know, what were some of your other favorite moments? German food, Logan.
Oh yeah, Schmidt's.
Yeah. So in the past I've kind of gone to Schmidt's on the first day that I was there. We kind of waited a couple days before we went to Schmidt's. And what were your thoughts?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
The food there, it's gorgeous. It's majestic.
Yeah.
The food there is divine.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah. It's German food. It's a couple miles away from the convention center in Germantown. We went there one night and got dinner and sat there, and then we went back right before we were headed to the airport, and it was busy. It was Sunday afternoon. And so we got takeout and ate in our ashtray rental car on our way to the airport, and that was delicious too. Like, that was amazing.
It was fantastic.
I love that place.
I told my dad this when he took me there, but one day when I have a son of my own, I'm going to fly him out. Doesn't even matter if the convention's going on. We are just flying out to have Schmidt's one time, and then
you got the German chocolate cake.
Oh, I love chocolate in general. I love chocolate, and it was I can't. There's no words to describe it.
Okay,
it was amazing.
That place is awesome. That's so good. So that was fun. Oh, we went to the Asmodee event, the Asmodee event. What did you think about that?
It was awesome. I don't know. They just had a bunch of new and upcoming games come out to demo, and it was just a lot of fun. I don't know. Asmodee was just super hospitable. Like you got the impression that they enjoyed that we were there. Like they were awesome.
There was a bunch of other people from different channels and podcasts and stuff, and it was cool to be a part of that event, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they sent us home with a bag of games and stuff, but we got to demo the recently announced KPop Demon Hunters Battle for the Spotlight, which is basically it's a love letter team game. And one of the designers was there, Walid, and he taught us the game. It was cool. I don't know that it was my favorite love letter, but we were playing with a couple guys that we didn't know. I'd kind of like to revisit this and play with people that we knew.
And it also, there was a lot of text on the cards.
Yeah.
And so I think it's more one that would become more enjoyable with more plays and kind of once you get familiar with everything.
Yeah.
It's pretty different from a lot of the other love letter games too.
Yeah.
And I think as far as the love letter games go, there's some other ones like Lovecraft Letter and Batman are certainly still kind of.
We played Star Wars a bunch in the hotel.
We played Jabba's Palace a ton, but I think kind of as its own thing, it's a pretty good game. Like I enjoyed playing it.
Yeah.
When I would compare it to the other love letters, I'd probably pick the other love letters, but
yeah,
it's a great game. What
did you think about the game Melodies?
Melodies was interesting. So
it was a gosh, it's kind of like
Scout? Is that what he?
It felt like a combination of Scout where you can't reorganize your hands and you got to play cards in a combo, but it's a cooperative game like what's the deep sea one?
The Crew.
The Crew.
Yeah.
So this cooperative trick playing card game where I don't know, you can't rearrange your cards like in Scout, but you're cooperatively trying to hit a higher or lower note on the most simple songs that you're creating, and you're trying to do it without too many failures. And it was really fun. I really liked it, and I can't remember who was demoing it. It was one of the publishers that is under the Asmodee, umbrella, right? And he was really cool, but he showed us the higher tier songs and they looked ridiculously impossible.
Yeah.
but we had fun. It was a really cool game. I'll check that one out for sure. It's called Melodies. I don't know that it's on BGG yet, but it looks really cool. A couple things they had there. They had like Azul for kids. Logan's little brother is 5 and he's playing bass Azul already, so we didn't go to that table. There was a couple expansions that we weren't playing, but they had them displayed for Harmonies that looked cool. I love that game. That
game is awesome, but the expansions added some really cool mechanics that I'm excited to try out one, because I'm sure we're gonna try that out at some point.
Yeah. And then they also had the recent Schadenfreude. That was out of print forever. That's an older game, but they had it displayed on the table there too. That looked cool. There was another game that we demoed that's under embargo that was a party game.
It was a party game.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a ton of fun.
I would be interested in getting that one when it comes out. But it was a blast. And I don't know. It was just a cool event where we got to sit down and play games with other people and see these new games for the first time. And it was an awesome event. And then, walked away with a few games that we'll be talking about coming up in the future. But I don't know. That was a highlight for me, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
The people in the community, for the most part, are awesome. And I didn't approach this as like, oh, we're a podcast very much. Like, there are a couple of people I talk to in that capacity, but for the most part, I was just there excited to play games with you, and that was a blast. And like I said, we got 38 plays of different games, a lot of 2-player games. Was there anything else that kind of stood out to you that was worth mentioning?
Oh yeah, I think we need to mention this. So one thing, they had the games library there. And one thing that was really cool they were doing is you'd go, rent out a game. Well, not rent, but borrow a game. And then when you went and took it back, Rio Grand Games had a ton of, 1,000 games?
Had to have been more than that. I bet there was a few thousand games that they handed out. So you would check your game back in, and you'd get to roll a die, and it was a D20. Whatever you rolled was the game that you got, right? And it was a ton of their train games, but like Dice Realms was there. There was a few others that I would have been really excited to get, but we kept rolling train games, right?
Yes, we got a lot of train games.
Yeah, we came home with a few. At a certain point, we're just like, oh, we've got that. Thanks, I don't need any more train games, right? But I did laugh the first day that we found out they were doing that. I checked out Mantis.
Yep. This is where I was going to go with this.
And Logan, I think you were punching Kabuto Sumo and getting that ready to play. Mm-hmm. And I came back to the table. We played Mantis in about 45 seconds. And I took the game back up, and they hadn't even sorted my ID into the right area. It was still in the just checked out bin. So that was funny. And then,
I knew it was a legitimate game.
Oh,
we played a full game of Mantis.
There was I wasn't just gaming the system at all.
Not even a little bit.
But that was really cool. Just the fact that Rio Grand Games has donated, I assume, thousands of games to be handed out to players who are checking back games into the library. I thought that was awesome. That was super cool.
Well, and they didn't run out of games till the last day.
Yeah.
They had games just handing out them every day.
I went up, I think on Sunday, the last day, and rolled. We checked one game out. I think we played, that was when we played General Orders again. Mm-hmm. And I checked it back in, and I rolled, and the guy's like, oh, you can pick up to 3 train games. And it's like, oh, I'm good. Really, we came home with a few train games, and it was super cool that they did what they did. But they were clearly trying to get rid of all of them so they wouldn't have to pack them up and take them with them, right?
Yeah.
But that was cool. We played an expansion for Sea Salt and Paper that I've never played. We had it. I've had it for a couple of years or a year or whatever. Extra Pepper. Based on who won the hand.
So it added these event cards. And essentially every round you get an event, and that event would have special rules or effects, either negative or positive, that would apply to everyone. And then at the end of the round, you would calculate who had the least points or the most points. And if it was a negative event, the event card would go to the player with the most points, or if it was a positive event, it would go to the player with the least points. And then next round, new event card is drawn, but say I got the first round's event card, then the new event card applies to everyone, and the card that I took, its rules only apply to me.
Yeah.
And so it was
really cool.
It was really cool. It was almost asymmetric, but not quite, because it's still available to everyone. It was just a really good addition to an already really good game.
Yeah, I felt like it. I like Sea Salt and Paper, but it took it to the next level for
Absolutely.
me. I would love to play this more in game night group or whatever. It took Sea Salt and Paper to the next level. It was awesome.
And it was super simple. It's not that much to add, but it's not that much to add rules wise, but it added a lot to the gameplay.
Yeah.
It was great.
Would you go to Origins again?
I would go.
Yeah?
Yeah, I
would
would go.
For the German food?
For Schmidt's. No, I would go for the convention again. I would love to take like a group of buddies to there and kind of do what we did. Just play a bunch of games, buy a couple games, go around, talk to people, but really just like a good space to just play a lot of games.
Yeah.
I'd absolutely do it again.
Yeah, that was awesome. We actually didn't really buy a ton of games.
No, we didn't.
Moytura, Kabuto, Sumo, and then a couple little card games and Hercules, right?
Hercules, and then I bought like a rule book for an RPG, and that's it. Like that's everything we bought.
Yeah, we didn't spend a ton of money. We played Sail a bunch. We got back into
Oh
that.
yeah, that
We've played that before.
we've played that before with little success.
Yeah.
It's a cooperative 2-player. We've played it in the past, barely gotten into it. At the con, we got to play it a bunch back to back and started kind of get into the flow, and
It was awesome.
We did good.
Yeah, we
It
did.
was fun.
There were a couple of hands where everything just played perfectly, and it felt like we were in each other's minds, and it was awesome because it's a 2-player cooperative trick taker. Mm-hmm. That should not work by any means at all, but it does, and it's a great design. Ankh.
We got to play with Ankh.
We gotta play with Ankh. I have to say, so Logan just, generally when we play Ankh, just the two of us, I think you win about 65% of the time. And you won this game pretty handily. Like, it was a beatdown. I felt a little fuzzy at first, like, what am I doing again? Because it's been a little while since we played. I have to say, like, playing this retail version of Ankh was a little underwhelming.
It was. It made
But the game's still awesome.
Oh, it's amazing. But it did make me grateful for the version that we have.
Yeah. We played Got 5. That was a fun little game from Blue Orange Games. It was the deduction one with the tiles. And you have tiles in front of you that only the other players can see. And they're number tiles from smallest to largest. You're trying to figure out what your numbers are. And you can draw a tile and then place a tile in 2 different ways that give you information in 2 different ways from the other players. So you're trying to deduce what all your numbers are. And it was like really played in like 8 or 9 minutes, and we both you figured it out. Like, I think the turn before I figured out what my numbers were. It plays really quick, but it was fun. It was relaxing.
It was relaxing.
That's an easy deduction game. Like, I would definitely play this with your little brother. I think he could pick this up, and it would be a fun little game to play with him. But it was fun. I don't know.
Another game that we played that was fun. This is a game that I've only played at 3-player before. This is Excalibur.
Oh yeah.
And we got a 5-player game. We joined a table. It was awesome. Like, playing that game at 5-player was super fun. That was a great experience.
Yeah. I think you missed the game night where we played it with 6 or 7, and it was great. But that was fun. I don't know. I keep circling back to how great that Unmatched game was.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, it was great. We should play it more.
Yeah. Let's play in a couple of years. One of the games that we played, All In Predictions. This was a 2026 release from Next Move Games. It was in the Asmodee bag that we got. It's basically, for the most part, kind of like poker adjacent hands that you're trying to.
The scoring is kind of based off poker hands.
Yes. And each card that you play gets 1 or 2 or 3 rewards, like drawing more cards or getting to look at the other player's hand, or things like that. And you're trying to build your best hand, but then at the end of the round, you're also predicting who you think has the best hand, and points are awarded based off of that. I thought this was great at 2-player. I would happily play this in a game group setting with more players, right?
It would definitely add more to the predicting part of the game if you had more players to choose from. Yeah. But I thought it was. I also thought it was.
And the predictions work a little bit different when you're playing just 2-player versus more players. But that was a lot of fun. I don't know. I can't think of a game that we played that really dragged or was not fun, or I was like, oh, I wish we wouldn't have played that, Yeah. And we played a lot of stuff that we played before, but it was just an awesome trip. It was great to spend time with you. I've mentioned before you're leaving for a couple of years, so it was great to just build those memories with you, and get some games played and experience that trip together. That's something I don't think either one of us will ever forget, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It was just a wonderful experience, and we got to play a ton of games and eat good food. It wasn't just the Schmidts. We were eating good food every night.
Oh, yeah.
Except for the Red Robin in Columbus. West of town, out in like Hilliard, where our hotel was. That Red Robin was struggling.
Okay, for context, he thought all food that day was bad, so I don't really think it was the Red Robin's fault.
I think it was the ashtray car rental. It was messing with my taste buds.
Yeah.
It was like, I love Red Robin campfire sauce. That campfire sauce was disgusting.
It was perfectly normal campfire sauce.
I thought we were going to go back to the hotel and be puking our guts out. It was disgusting.
That was really good campfire sauce. It was perfectly normal. It's just like the one we get in Castle Rock.
The vanilla Dr. Pepper or whatever, the cream Dr. Pepper drinks that we get.
Was delicious.
Mine tasted like how marijuana would taste if you ate it. That's
Mine did not. Mine tasted great.
I think my food was getting spiked or something.
Just yours.
Yes.
They figured out which plates were going to you.
I must
spiked
have
it.
said something or done something.
You offended them.
Maybe because we showed up
right
like 20 minutes before they closed.
It was like 45.
Yeah,
it was time.
That was the only gross food that we had on the whole trip. We had, Chick-fil-A and dude, the place. I don't remember eating at this place before, but there's a place right in the convention center that does burgers and fries. Those burgers and fries were amazing.
They were good.
They were really good. We got that a couple days. We went over to the North Market a couple times. We didn't go to the chicken place upstairs. It was closed one night that we got there too late after we flew in. And then another day we went over there. It was like rented out to a college
it was like
group
reserved,
high
like
school
a
group or something.
I think it was a group of students from a college had like reserved the entire restaurant.
Yeah, that place is amazing. You would have loved that, but it was, we never actually went back. We ate other stuff at the North Market. I don't know. It was great food, great company, great games, great people to talk to. It was an awesome trip.
Yeah.
Minus the ashtray car. Yeah. But anything else?
Yeah, just happy to be back on the podcast. It's always a pleasure. So
awesome.
This was fun.
Yeah, well, glad you were on, and we may do a preview of Gen Con, what we're most excited about for our next episode. And I'm not sure Origins is gonna be as big as it has been in the past. I think it's dying a little bit. I think it might be shifting a little to RPGs and just a kind of more of a gaming convention. Less publishers. I also heard rumors that PAX Unplugged is gonna be having a competing convention in the middle of the year near the same time in Texas. Which I don't know about going to Texas in June, but I heard rumors about that. So I would be sad to see if Origins kind of diminished a little bit more. It already felt like it was a little bit lighter than it's been in the past, but still an awesome experience and a great place to go play games. So that's our episode. Thanks for listening, and until next time, Totsins.
Sayonara.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Longest Turn Board Gaming Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you want more Longest Turn in your life, please check us out on Instagram. Also, be sure to check us out on Board Game Geek, where you can join our guild, Guild 3947, and check out our blog, where we post all our show notes and occasionally post more detailed reviews. If that's not enough for you, we have a Discord server. If you want to play a game with us on Board Game Arena, join our Board Game Arena group, The Longest Turn. Until next time, thanks for listening.
Totsins.
Goodbye. See you later.